I just wanted to say hello from the Dumaguete Church and the UU Church in Dumaguete, Philippines, and this is August the 9th, 2026, and we're having, we do this service twice a month in English, and everybody's invited, especially if they're international travelers. If you're an international travel, feel free to visit our church while you're on your Philippine travels. And our speaker today is Arman. I've known him a long time. You're the executive director, right?
Church administrator.
Church administrator. I didn't know we were a church. Anyway, this is Arman, and he's giving today's service, and he's been here for a long time.
Yeah. 10 years. Okay, so good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you feeling today? So where do you feel the tensions in your body at the moment? Maybe you feel some tensions in your head, or some heaviness in your shoulder down to your waist, or maybe you feel that knots in your stomach. However you're feeling right now, you are welcome in this space of rest and reflection. We live in a world competes fiercely for our attention. We are so occupied in making a life, and sometimes we forget to sit down and breathe. Our schedules overflow from home to office to everywhere, just overwhelming loads of responsibilities. Our minds are rarely quiet because we are so hooked to our calendars. Additionally, our phones and other gadgets steal our precious times too, spending hours and hours in social media every single day. Sounds familiar? Our attention is fractured by constant notifications on our Facebook, Messenger, emails, relentless group chats, and demanding schedules. We are highly connected to the internet, yet profoundly disconnected from depth. We often feel spiritually dry, running on empty, while wondering why we do not feel closer to God or feeling disconnected from the universe. And if we are honest with ourselves today, we must confront a heavy reality. We are living through an unprecedented epidemic of noise, as J.M. Comer puts it. We are an exhausted people. We go to bed tired, and we wake up already behind, running on survival mode. Many of us try to cure this overloaded soul with external fixes. We buy a new gadget, we go shopping online, now with all the shopping apps available online. We wait for the next long weekend for our beach getaway, and several other ways to spoil ourselves in the hope of addressing the feeling of loneliness and emptiness inside. But hear this clearly: you cannot solve an internal vacuum with an external fix. True stability does not come from altering your external circumstances. It comes from restructuring your internal habits. Deep intimacy with God or with the universe require intentionality. It requires training, not just trying, according to D. Willard. This is the purpose of a spiritual practice. Today, we are going to break down the mechanics of how to step out of the chaos, tap into an unshakable source of divine energy, and build a progressive foundation for your daily life. Let us strip away the misconception that spiritual practice is merely a passive mood, an intellectual theory, or a ritual we perform out of obligation. Another misconception is that many Christians believes closeness to God happens only by simply reading the Bible as the true Word of God or purely through emotional highs during Sunday services. A spiritual practice is any regular, intentional action that moves your focus away from worldly distractions and anchors it entirely on the divine, the universe, and your core values. Spiritual practices are intentional daily rhythms that quiet the noise of our environment so we can anchor our souls to the divine, build unshakable inner strength, and operate from a position of absolute power. It is not a performance to earn approval, nor is it a checklist to prove your righteousness. It is a sanctuary for total restoration. Think of spiritual practice as a spiritual gym. Going to the gym doesn't make you a better human being, but it builds the muscles you need to carry heavy loads in life. Spiritual practices build our capacity to love, endure, and obey. This gym analogy is rooted in the words of Apostle Paul in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verses 7 to 8. Spiritual practice is like a structural engineering for your character. If your life is a rushing, turbulent river, much like a flash flood during typhoon season, the water is brown, muddy, and chaotic. You can never see your reflection, and you certainly cannot find your footing. A spiritual practice is the deliberate act of building a dam against that current. It is stepping out of the mud so the sediment can settle, allowing the water to become crystal clear. When you practice, you stop operating from a position of a frantic panic, and you begin operating from a position of absolute centered power. A few years ago, I accepted the call to work here at the church. On the outside, I was deeply fulfilled. On the inside, my life had become a rushing, turbulent river. I was completely hooked to my calendar, managing church duties, family obligations, and commuting back and forth for international seminary studies. Like a busy bee, I said yes to every single demand of me. In our Filipino culture, we wear pagsisikap like a badge of honor. We celebrate hard work and endurance. But internally, behind my smile, I was running on psychological and spiritual fumes. Suddenly, an overwhelming wave of exhaustion hit me. Then the noise of my schedule caught up with me, and my world turned upside down. My vertigo was triggered. Every morning became a constant battle to survive the dizziness. For years, I sought out medical professionals to find an answer, but it always felt like it was in vain. The weight of an invisible disability is a heavy burden, made worse by the frustration of constantly having to explain it. Sadly, when people can see your pain, they doubt it. They thought I was making excuses. But what they couldn't see was the sheer exhaustion of trying to look perfectly fine when my entire world was spinning. I understood right then that if I did not deliberately build a structural boundary against the flood of modern demands, the flood would sweep away my mental health, my relationships, and my higher purpose. I did not need a doctor. I did not need medications. I did not need a vacation. What I needed is a daily anchor. In that moment of deep reflection, I made a non negotiable rule. No work past 9 in the evening. My cell phone goes on sleep mode, followed by 5 minutes of reading the Bible or any inspirational books, and 10 minutes of sleep music. In the morning, I start my day with a prayer of gratitude and 5 minutes of absolute silence and deep breathing, all before checking a single screen. So, what we're doing every morning, keep checking our phone, waiting for any messages that comes along early in the morning. So my routine is, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I gave time to myself to check on my phone. So I don't really open the phone like 4 o'clock in the morning. I put it on silent mode. So, if it's an emergency, I guess that's a problem. But I made it a point to silent my phone like from 9 until 5 o'clock in the morning. Those small boundaries fundamentally altered the trajectory of my life. They took me from a state of constant reaction to a state of intentional creation. Across history and modern culture, the individuals who have left the deepest, most permanent marks on human history all protected their inner lives fiercely. They recognized that public impact without grounding is a recipe for a catastrophic collapse. Take, for instance, Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She faced astronomical human suffering, disease, and poverty in daily in developing communities just like ours. Yet, she rigidly enforced a strict schedule of silent meditation and prayer every single morning before stepping into the slums. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. He mobilized millions against systemic oppression while navigating treacherous political landscapes. Yet, his integration of his spiritual practices was non-negotiable. He observed a strict day of absolute silence every single week to realign his mind and spirit with the universe. This is the exact blueprint modeled by Jesus as well. He constantly balanced public ministry with private spiritual renewal. The scriptures show that right when the crowds grow, the largest, Jesus would routinely step away from the noise. He withdrew to quiet, lonely places to pray and fast, choosing private alignment over public demand. If you study the most influential mindfulness and spiritual teachers of our generation, they all point to this exact same internal architecture. Eckhart Tolle and Thich Nhat Hanh teach us that we must dissolve our frantic racing minds. They show us how to anchor ourselves in the present moment, turning simple, everyday actions like mindful breathing or walking into a quiet sanctuary that silences the mental noise. Ramdas and Marianne Williamson remind us that we are souls sharing a human experience. They challenge us to intentionally shift our identity away from fear, pride, and ego, and anchor our minds entirely in pure, loving awareness and regular forgiveness. When you commit to a progressive spiritual practice, you are not just escaping the world. You are equipping yourself to change it. The benefits are profound, altering both your internal reality and how you respond to the systemic pain of our country. So one of the benefits of having a spiritual practice is unshakable spiritual strength. It builds an internal fortress. In the Philippines, we know all about typhoons. We know that when a storm hits, the houses built on shallow foundations are the first to be swept away. Spiritual practice builds deep, unyielding root systems into the divine. When the storms of life hit, whether it is sudden medical diagnosis, financial distress, a painful heartbreak, or a career crisis, you do not wither. You develop a supernatural resilience that allow you to stand firm while the winds howl around you. Another one is deeper connection to the divine and the universe. It shifts your relationship with the Creator from a distant, abstract concept to an intimate, living reality. You begin to see the thumbprint of the divine in your everyday life. You develop an internal radar that recognizes divine timing, subtle course corrections, and moments of grace. Number three, the positive impact on daily life. It completely transforms how we view our society. Right now, our nation faces massive structural challenges. We see the heavy weight of poverty trapping millions of our brothers and sisters. We see the polarization, corruption, and noise of modern politics that leave us feeling cynical, angry, and helpless. When you do not have a spiritual practice, the toxicity of politics and the overwhelming side of poverty will either make you numb or make you bitter. But when you anchor your soul in the divine, your perspective changes. A deep spiritual practice reminds us of our kapwa, the profound truth that our shared inner being connects us to the person next to us, especially the poor, the marginalized, and the forgotten. You gain the emotional margin and financial clarity to practice radical generosity. So here are some of the activities that we can use or start our own spiritual practice. So number one, prayer. So I compare any activities to what is like to be considered a recreation and what it is to be considered as a spiritual practice. So for prayer, it can be a recreation if we are merely reciting prayers out of habit, treating a service like a social club, so attending churches like you don't really feel connected to the community, so checking pray off a daily to-do list. So without really getting into it, like your system, getting connected to what you're doing just for the, what you call this, for doing all those kind of things, without depth, from within yourself. So a prayer can be a spiritual practice if a practice in deep surrender and dialogue. You quiet your inner chatter to listen, pour out your honest vulnerability, and release the weight of your burdens into the hands of a higher power. So another one is meditation. As a recreation, using a meditation app just to lower stress, calm a racing heart, or get better sleep after a long work day. So meditation can be a spiritual practice if you do it in pure awareness and transcendence. You dissolve the boundaries of the ego, watch your thoughts pass like clouds in the sky, and align your consciousness with the unchanging presence of the universe. Walking on the beach. As a recreation, walking for exercise or taking photos for social media. So as a spiritual practice, it became a practice in oneness and awe. You sync your breathing with the rhythm of the waves. Feel the shifting sand beneath your bare feet and recognize how small your personal problems are compared to the vastness of the ocean. So even drawing and painting, it become a recreation if you're trying to make a perfect, beautiful picture to show others or copy a photograph. It can be a spiritual practice if in pure presence and ego dissolution, you enter a flow state where time disappears. The critical inner voice falls silent. and you allow energy to move through your hands without judging the final result. Or reading a book can also be a sort of or a form of spiritual practice. So it will only become a recreation if reading a thrilling fiction story to escape reality or memorizing facts to look smart. But it can be a spiritual practice if you do it with contemplation and mirrors. You read spiritual texts, philosophy, or deep poetry slowly, perhaps just one paragraph at a time, and sit in silence to see how those words reflect your own inner truth. So there are still other things. If we look at the internet, they will suggest a lot of things that you can use as your way or form of spiritual practice. You can do your own research or try some things that will work for you. So like, it's no limits, no? Like even cooking or even gardening, no? Even just walking and the forest or getting lost in the wild. So, those kind of things can be a sort of spiritual practice if you let go of all your, what you call this? Okay, I've lost the word. If you let go of all the noises in your head, let go of all the just integrate yourself with the nature. So it can be a spiritual practice if you feel connected to the earth, if you feel connected to the universe, and those ways that you are doing. So in doing so, there are 3 secrets to making anything spiritual. So number 1, set an intention. So before you start, mentally declare your purpose. Right? So it is very important that you have to do it with that intention of starting a spiritual practice. So say, for example, for the next 15 minutes, my only goal is to be fully present with this canvas. Or for the next 15 minutes, I just want to listen to this music. Or for the next 5 or 10 minutes, I just want to be in the forest and feel and see the beauty of nature. So what is important is you have that intention. So drop the judgment. Stop focusing on the outcome. It does not matter if the painting is ugly, the garden has weeds, or you walk slowly. The value is in the doing, not the result. So number 3, use your senses. Bring your wandering mind back to the present moment by focusing heavily on physical sensation. The smell of the dirt, the texture of the paper, or the cold sea water. Most people fail at spiritual practices because they attempt to go from 0 to 60 overnight. So there's no magic. There's no 360-degree shift to what you're doing. So you have to do it slowly. So they decide to meditate for an hour, read deep volumes, and undergo an intense fast, all on day 1. By day 4, they burn out, feel a heavy sense of guilt, and quit entirely. We must approach this progressively, step by step. So you can do like a phase 4 whatever is convenient to you. So like you can do like a 5 steps program or a 3 steps program. So like on phase 1, you will start like a 5-minute sandbox. You will do it like for 2 weeks. Find 5 minutes immediately upon waking. So do not touch your phone. Sit in absolute stillness. Focus entirely on your breathing. Acknowledge your existence and state one clear, profound reason you are grateful for the breath in your lungs. So you can just do it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes every morning, do it. So the temptation of, getting our phone, checking messages, what are the trend in Facebook, what are the current viral videos every day. So put it down, put it aside. So every time you wake up in the morning, you can start like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just sit down, take a deep breath, just feel your body, just feel the tensions in your body, just recognize and appreciate the life that you have as you wake up in that morning. So maybe for 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weeks, you can do that, 5 minutes. And then phase 2, you can increase it, like the number of minutes. Like for the next 2 weeks, you will say, I'll do it like 15 minutes every day. So once I wake up in the morning, I will not check on my phone. I will do anything. Just sit down in a chair, or maybe on your bedside, or maybe if you have that yoga mat, you can sit down on the floor. Just have that deep breath. Then again, appreciate the life that you have. Be grateful. So yeah, you can do all those kind of rituals to make it part of your system, and so on and so forth. You can start building your spiritual practice, increasing the number of minutes or increasing the frequency as you do it every day, so you can have a way to escape the chaos, to escape the noise, to calm that racing thoughts that we have every day. All the schedules, the works, running errands, bills, and everything. So see to it that you have that 5 minutes or 10 minutes time each day to quiet your mind, to relax your body, and then start all over again. So I think that is very important that we have our own way of grounding, our own way of going back at the present moment. Because sometimes if there's so much noise going on in our head, we tend to get lost. We tend to disconnect to the reality. We tend to disconnect with the present moment. We affected our relationship with our family, with our coworkers, with our friends, if we don't have that peace of mind, if we don't have that clarity of our purpose every day. So in conclusion, spiritual practice are not an extra burden to add to your already exhausting to-do list. They are the exact mechanism you use to drop the heavy baggage you were never created to carry. They take you from a life of frantic survival to a life of divine power. So I challenge you all to start your own spiritual practice immediately, tomorrow, next week. So put it in your calendar when you're going to do it. And do it. No, just don't write it and put it aside. But see to it that you do it. So at first, sometimes consistency is the key. No, you do it like for a day or two. The next day you forgot. You intentionally to forget. No, but try to go back to it again. No, so what is important is you keep on trying. You keep on practicing until you develop that spiritual practice become part of your system. So protect those 300 seconds fiercely. Let the notifications wait. Let the world spin without you while you anchor your soul to the one who holds the universe. Reclaim your ground, tap into your divine strength, and watch your daily life and our nation transform. That's it. So thank you very much. So I hope you get something. And you will start soon on your spiritual practice. So thank you very much.